Hello and welcome to the Cup of Triathlon podcast. We're brought to you every week by our sponsors, oxygenaddict.com.
Triathlon coaching with Coach Rob.
We are bikehouse.co.uk.
For all your cycling needs.
And triathlonbox.co.uk.
To keep everything neat in transition.
Fandabby-dozy. Helen, how are you, mate?
Rob, I'm fine, thank you very much. Fine.
You must be getting excited. Few days to Ironman UK.
It's the mixture of excitement and nerves, for sure.
I bet it is,
Mixture of both. And
mostly excitement at this point, and then a few days closer, it's just all nerves till race day.
Yeah, it's really weird because my almost like work. It's not like the SH1T has hit the fan, but it's just more like I've just started a new role for a few weeks, and it is just mental. And so, in a way, that's kind of taking my mind off it a little bit. But then you have that equal concern if you overthink it too much. Oh my god, and my brain's going to be mentally fried by the time I get to the weekend. I'm going to be mentally tired, rah, 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 rah. But no, I think work is doing a good job of taking my mind off things. And I'm also doing quite a bit work-wise to do with sporty things and sporty people. And that's quite inspiring. So every so often I might hear a bit of an interview or something about people, who maybe are putting everything on the line for a sporting event or just putting injuries into context or whatever. And so that's quite useful too.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah.
I'm excited for you. I'm really excited for you.
For Sunday or for...
Yeah. Well, for Sunday first, well, Rio's exciting as well, but let's get through Ironman UK before we send you off to the Olympics.
Yeah, let's do that. Yeah, no, I'm excited. And even today, driving home from work, suddenly it might have been like Swedish House Mafia or something came on the radio. And I turned up the radio quite loud, and I just thought, yes, this is what it's like at the finish line. And I thought, even at on lap 1, if I get to the end of it on the run, you can hear the finish line, can't you? The music. And I was thinking, oh!
Yeah. And also at Bolton, you've got the big pub at the top of the hill where we did our supporter station last year. And I will be again this year. And that's got the pub with the music blaring as well. So you've got two hotspots there.
Well, I'm hoping they play a bit of Swedish. What are they? Swedish?
Swedish House Mafia?
No idea, yeah.
I don't know. You're down with the kids, Helen.
Something
I'll
like
be
that.
listening to Coldplay or something.
Coldplay doesn't... It won't do it on the finish line. You've got to have something far more cheesy and Europop.
You realise you've just cursed yourself to having Coldplay play every time you run through the town centre now.
Brilliant. Well, I'll be singing. Anyway, yeah, I'm looking forward to it, Rob. It is exciting, and it is the culmination of, well, you could say a year's work, but actually I think it is more like 3 years' work. So it'll be good to...
Yeah, for sure. This is the pinnacle of having built and built and built, isn't it, over the 3 years?
Yeah. So, I'm looking forward to it. I just keep on looking at the weather, and that's worrying me slightly, but what can you do?
Well, it's changed 3 times today, the forecast,
exactly,
hasn't it?
So, I know.
Yeah.
I have a friend who's a weatherman, so I'm going to get him to give me the, the authoritative voice on it, maybe in a couple of days. I trust him.
Look, you can't affect what the weather's going to do. All you can do is prepare for it to be changeable,
exactly.
Right? So get ready for it, and fingers crossed you don't get caught in the kind of hour-long deluge that happened last year.
Totally. So if my friend the weatherman says, it's going to be absolutely bucking it down, well then, hey, I believe him.
I don't think it will be. I think it's going to dry off. I think you're going
to
get some decent weather. I think it's going to be a bit blustery in the afternoon, but warm. So you're going to have a real good day for racing, I think.
Brilliant. Can't wait.
Yeah. It's going to be wicked. So you're going to be running backwards and forwards, Hal. So what's your race kit? What are you going to be wearing so people can give you a cheer on? We need an official Cup of Tri sticker on your jumper.
That would be good. Okay, this might be a slightly controversial choice. However, I am going with my Race Force kit because it's comfortable and I've worn it. So therefore it's black shorts and then a white top with vertical stripes down it. Then I practiced my transitions yesterday. At the moment, Rob, I am planning on a 1 minute change into horrendous orange shorts and my Knutsford Tri Club running vest for the run.
The famous orange
Yep.
shorts.
And then I will actually be comfortable on the run.
Yeah, good for you.
So yeah, at the moment, race force kit for the bike, and then comfortable Knutsford Tri Club running top for the run.
Don't mess about in T2. That's my advice to you. You know what happened to Pete the Fish 3 years ago? You got to change quick.
I practiced it yesterday in the kitchen after my ride. I came in.
You're confident, are you?
Changed for the run.
Sub 60.
Not sub 60 in T2, but sub 60 to be able to get both off and the next one on.
Well, I'm watching the clock, Helen. If you burn your Kona ticket because you spent too long doing your shorts up, mate.
I don't know. They're more comfortable.
That's all good. Just change them quickly. Getting changed is all right. Just don't have a cup of tea.
No tea. No tea.
There you go.
So yeah, that's so either so race force kit definitely for the bike, and probably put some nuts for
Tri Club top.
Yep, onto the run because I want the cheers.
So you're looking for a fast, lean, skinny little runner in Nuts for Tri Club kit on the run, everybody, with Helen written on. Say fist pump of joy to Helen.
Yeah, any cheers will be greatly appreciated.
Good. Right. Let's do some race results, shall we? Let's see what was going on this weekend around the world in the world of triathlon. Shall we kick it off over in Sweden?
Yeah, let's do that. Yep.
70.3. Oh, go on. Jönköping in Sweden.
Yep.
Is that correct? Have I done that okay?
Sounds great.
Sounds great. And a bit of British interest there. Female win for the wonderful Jodie Swallow.
Correct. Yeah, it was Jodie Swallow on top of the podium, and Kimberly Morrison pushed her quite away.
Yeah. So Jodie Swallow in first, Asta Lundström in second, and Kimberly Morrison in third. So great weekend of racing for the Brits there. Did we also have Emma Bilham chasing them down in fourth as well?
Yeah, Emma Bilham was fourth. Yep. So she's had a number of really good results recently, hasn't she? But yeah, fourth for Bilham.
121 run. That's pretty sharp, isn't it?
Yeah. But Morrison on the bike. I was just trying to. What did Morrison do on the bike? She did a really swift bike split.
Can't find the times, but she blitzed it, didn't she?
Yeah, and then a 1:30 run. So I think she came out of T2. This is Morrison, like a tiny fraction ahead of Swallow. So she caught up to Swallow on the bike, and then Swallow overtook her. On the run.
The afterburners on.
Yeah. So.
Jolly good. And over on the men's side, some big names racing. Andreas Dreitz took it out in 3:49 from Freddie Van Leerd, who's made a successful, I think that's his best race since his comeback so far, isn't it? With 3:52 and James Kanama in third.
Yep, 3:53. So yeah, another really good race out there, and again a bit like 70.3 Norway, Rob. It's kind of one that I think it'd be quite nice.
Yeah, it looks really sort of chocolate boxy on the run through and back through a village and stuff. I had one of the guys I coach, Andreas, was racing, and he gave us really positive reports about the place. He said it was a superb race. Exciting times, man.
Love it.
One for the list for you for next year.
Yeah, that Norway. I saw a bike ride the other day, Rob, which goes from North to South Wales in a day. I was quite appealed.
The boys have done that. Some of the boys from the club. You should talk to Ed and James. They've done that.
They look really, yeah.
Yeah, it's like 260 miles or something mental, isn't it?
I don't think it was quite that far, but still. It looks kind of cool. Wales in a day.
It's 260k.
Yeah, that might be it. Yeah.
It's a long way.
It is a long way, but hey.
It's a long way.
Don't need to race it. Just go and have fun,
Yeah.
Oh.
I remember thinking that as I sat off on the Fred Whitten, and then 4 hours later thinking, it's still a long way. It ain't flat either, is it, riding across Wales, mate?
No. And the problem, a bit like in the middle of the Lake District, there aren't a whole load of train stations available if you decided to wimp out halfway through.
Yeah. You got to commit.
Yeah, I think I would, though. It looked good.
You would. You'd do it.
Totally. I like the look of it. Rob, where should we go next?
Let's go to the long course weekend down in Tenby.
Oh, have you? This is almost really, really good prep if you're going to be doing Ironman Wales, and if you're not going to be doing Ironman Wales, just a blooming brilliant weekend.
Yeah, I think the future is for more of these long course weekends. I know they had one lined up in Lanzarote as well. They were going to do this in Lanzarote, and it's been moved back a year. So that I reckon will go on to be an enormous event as well. So the basic deal is you do the Ironman distance swim on the Friday night, and other distances are available. You do the Ironman distance bike ride on the Saturday, and other distance sportifs are available. And you do the run on the Sunday, full marathon, but they also have a half marathon and a 10K. And yeah, it's super duper well organized. Tembe's the most beautiful place on earth. It looks really, really cool.
Yeah, I've heard lots of good things about it.
I think what they do on the run, they set the half marathoners off from the halfway point of the marathon just before the marathoners get there.
Oh.
So they all end up running together, and then they set the 10Kers off just before the half marathoners get there.
Yeah.
So they all end up charging down the finishing straight together, which sounds like a nightmare, but apparently works really, really well.
Oh, that's great.
They start from different castles around the way.
Oh.
So yeah, really, really cool, man.
It's another one for next year's list.
I'd have been doing it this year if I hadn't been tutoring for British Triathlon this weekend on a coach ed course. I'd have signed up for it for sure. And if the course had been on a Sunday, I'd have gone and done the swim and the bike and driven home to do it. But the course was on the Saturday, and I was like, well, it's a long way to go on a Saturday night.
If the course had been on the Sunday in Pembroke Dock or something, that would have been ideal.
Yeah,
even
I should check
Swansea.
it out for next year.
Yeah.
I could go down and claim it on expenses.
Oh.
Yeah, so they run it as like a cumulative broken Ironman over the weekend, and right, so we've got some results here. It might be a bit slow on pulling these up because we've got to go backwards and forwards across the different spreadsheets. A chap called Marcus Hultgren took it out from Stockholm. He beat Oliver Simon, if you can believe this, who was last year's winner, who is obviously a startlingly good pro. And Mark Whitaker was down in third place. Now, Marcus Hultgren's time here, he did a 1 hour swim, so he lost 6 minutes to Ollie Simon in the swim. He then produced a 5:17 on the bike, putting him 20 clear minutes faster than Ollie Simon, who himself was another 10 minutes clear of the next fastest guy. So this Marcus Hultgren absolutely smashed it on the bike. And then he turned out a 2:56 run to take it home.
Love it.
So really, really impressive. Ollie Simon did 54 on the swim to pretty much, lead the swimmers out with the exception of, can you guess who might have beaten him?
And the swim?
Yeah. Wasn't a man.
Lucy Charles.
Lucy Charles, yeah. Lucy Charles took the swim out with startling. I don't think she did the full weekend. She's not on the full long course weekend results list, but I remember looking at it going, that is a fast swim.
What did she do?
I think she did a 48 from memory, and I can't find the results now as I'm talking because they're all separate, aren't they? Long course weekend swim.
Yeah, bring it up. Bring it up.
We're doing. But yeah, so women's results in the long course weekend. We had Tracy Markham take it out in 10:56 from Jill Cliff in 11:07, and Michelle Parsons in third place. Know Michelle from a long time ago.
Do you?
Yeah, she was super, super talented. I didn't know she was racing still, actually. She went over to running for a while. She was a super duper duathlete. So yeah, Tracy Markham took it out at 10:56 with a 1:02 swim, 6:24 on the bike, and a 3:29 on the run.
Yeah,
so
solid.
Good work there.
Definitely.
It was one of those swims apparently where the good swimmers had a good swim and people who weren't brilliant swimmers got battered. It was wavy and it was currenty and it was long, and I had a lad racing, Gareth, who finished in 5th overall, which is chapeau to him. That's good result. But he said he had it on his Garmin as like 4.5k swim. So he wasn't sure whether it was his route finding or the currents and stuff blowing him around. Bless him.
Wow, that's what I don't know. I don't think I'm the most confident swimmer in the sea, and that would always put me off Wales slightly, I think. I don't know.
I think you've got to go with a kind of
open mind.
You've got to go and treat it like an adventure. Yeah, exactly. You've got to go and think, well, we're going to get battered here, but it's going to be really good fun. Because if you go expecting it to be mill pond flat.
It's
I mean,
never
I
going
told
to
you
happen.
I went to Tenby last year to spectate, and the night before the race, I was surfing 2 miles down the road. It was like shoulder high, and I remember texting my mate and saying it's going to be fairly lively tomorrow, and it did drop off overnight, but still, it gives you an idea of the kind of state of the sea that you end up swimming in sometimes. I don't know if it was that rough at Tenby this weekend, but there we go. Interesting times.
Love it. Well, one again, have a look. It's lcwwales.com if you're interested in doing the long course weekend. lcwwales.com.
Let's hope they manage to pull it together for the long course weekend in Lanzarote, because that would be a brilliant way to go and do a training weekend over there, wouldn't it?
Oh yeah, you get some
Swim,
solid,
bike and run.
definitely some really good, decent hours in there, wouldn't you?
Yeah, it'd be great, especially if it was meant to be in early December, I think, as well, when the Lanzarote Marathon's on. So, good time of year to go.
Oh, that's
Christmas treat.
Christmas present to yourself.
Yeah. See you on Monday, dear.
Bye. Oh.
Right, over to California.
Yeah, another win, dominating win for
Holly Lawrence is on it, isn't she?
Isn't she just? Yeah, she is. Honestly, because again, so this was Vineman, 70.3, and she was up against Caroline Steffen, Lauren Brandon. Anyway, Holly Lawrence won by another sort of 8 minutes on this one. She beat Caroline Steffen in second. So Holly did 4:09, Caroline Steffen second in 4:17, and Lauren Brandon third in 4:22. And again, we put this in perspective last week, didn't we? Because she wasn't, miles and miles off the men's win at all. Andy Potts took the win in 3:48.09. Tim Reed second in 3:48.46, and Craig Alexander 3:49. So honestly, she's 20 minutes after them.
20 minutes to Andy Potts, Tim Reed, and Craig Alexander. It's not like it's a B race full of male B pros, is it? That's a legit result. And again, it underlines it, doesn't it? To be 7 or 8 minutes ahead of Caroline Steffen, she's where we'd expect the winning pro female to be, really. So that's another amazing performance. That's on the back of her winning, was it Mont Tremblant and Escape from Alcatraz back to back?
Correct.
And second at St. George a little bit earlier in the year as well.
Yeah. So honestly, she's looking in really, really good form for the 70.3 World Championships.
That's a quality old race as well, Vineman. That used to be Ironman California way back in the day. And it used to be a qualifier for Kona. They used to have loads of slots for Kona, so it used to be super competitive at age group level. Yeah,
and I saw a photo of, like, it was in transition, and it had all the men who were racing, and like their particular stands, and you just looked along from sort of 1 to 8 or 9, and you just that is the who's who. So
Andy Potts, Tim Reed, Craig Alexander, Terenzo Bozzoni. It's quality.
Yeah. So she's having a really fantastic season at the moment.
Chapeau to Holly.
Absolutely. Robbo's going to...
Do you know anyone who knows her? We should get her on. We should get Holly Lawrence on. That'd be a great interview.
I think we know people that know her. Yep.
Great. Let's get on it.
I will get on that. Yes.
Anyone knows her, start tweeting her. Tell you want to hear her on the show. Warm her up for us.
Rob, did you see, just talking about, you said there about the Kona slots, did you see that 2 races in China, 2 70.3 races in China, are going to offer slots for Kona?
Yeah, contentious, huh?
Yep. So I thought that was quite an interesting point.
We are expanding into the Chinese market by offering loads of slots at 70.3 races.
Yep, for the Kona World Championship. So how many people do you reckon will specifically fly to China just to try and get some of those Kona slots?
A lot.
Yep.
I think people will really go for it.
Yep.
But do you know what? I'm being a little bit cynical there. There's other 70.3s that offer Kona slots still, so there's no reason they shouldn't do so in China. And I think it'll be great for the growth of the sport internationally if we can get loads of Chinese people interested in racing. They've got a massive population. It'll be brilliant.
There you go.
It wasn't so long ago when they originally launched Ironman China, and the first race was absolutely baking hot, and Rasmus Henning was leading it by so far that he sat down under a motorway bridge for about 10 minutes to cool off. It was like 40 something degrees, and he was so far ahead he had a little sit down.
Love it. That's a good tactic.
That's what we want from you at Bolton on Saturday. I want you so far ahead of everybody you can have a little sit down.
Rob Wilby, that's not going to happen.
We'll see.
Is it? I'll be sitting down on the side of the road crying or in pain rather than anything else.
We'll form a relay.
God.
We'll pass you along our hands. Above our heads like at Glastonbury. We'll pass you down Chorley New Road.
To get me to the finish. I think that might...
Come on, give us an update. Give us an update on your Achilles. How's it going?
Oh, well, I have progressed to 4 minutes of running with a minute of walking. So, you know, God, seriously.
You take what you can get, don't you?
Yeah. Yeah. But it's pain-free. So that's fine. And I did it for an hour.
Yeah, well, that's awesome.
So there is a big unknown, Rob. There is a big unknown.
Do you know what, mate? Considering 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, our strategy was, well, we'll give them a ring and see if they'll let me do the marathon for you as a relay.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no chance of you running, was there, 2 or 3 weeks ago? We'd kind of given up on it.
Yeah.
And the fact it healed as quick as it did, you had another scan and it looked like it had healed up, and you kind of tentatively have done the sensible thing and built it up really slowly. What's the worst that can happen, man?
Exactly. There is no dreadful outcome.
You give me your vest and you give me a number and I'll carry it across the line for you.
Yeah. No, there really is no dreadful outcome. Either I get to the finish line or I don't, and that's it.
You said it, man. Yeah.
So
just getting to be in these things is it's what reward enough, isn't it?
Well, let's be honest. I will be totally gutted if I don't get to the finish line, but I have to be realistic as well and recognise that it might not happen. So I have to almost prepare for that side of it as well, just in case, but hope that I can.
Yeah, well, we'll all be rooting for you. I want lots of fist pumps of joy for anyone you see in a Nuts for Tri Club t-shirt on the day, listeners. Get out there and give Helen a shout. Send the positive vibes to that Achilles tendon.
Yeah. I'm hoping the same happens to me that happened to you, Rob, that you just didn't feel it at all. No pain.
The miracle recovery.
Yeah, exactly. I was talking to someone recently and they said they started a race without even being able to hop the day before. And they got they got through it. Probably won it.
The key is to get through it and not damage yourself for life, isn't it?
Exactly.
That's the key. If you can go around and do it and have lots of fun, then great, but not at the expense of doing yourself in for the future.
You got it. You've got it.
All right, man. So let's talk about Ironman UK.
Yes.
Let's talk about it.
So can we do a bit of a coach's couch for it, Rob?
Yeah, we'll do a coach's couch for Ironman UK. Let's talk about the course and stuff, and then we'll talk about who's racing and things like that. So first thing I thought we'd talk about, split transitions.
Yes, be prepared. That's my top tip.
Be prepared. If you haven't got someone who's taking you down to the swim start on race morning, and be aware there's no parking there anyway, so you're going to have to get dropped off on the roadside, you need to get yourself on the transition bus. They will have decent transition buses going backwards and forwards, but it's always a bit nervy if you're one of the last ones in the line, so get yourself there early.
Yep, that's definitely...
You swum at Pennington Flash this year?
No.
I've been down and been in. It's meant to be all right from people I've spoken to. Temperature's okay, 18.5, 19, they're telling me. So not warm, but not freezing cold either. Visibility's okay, not too weedy. So sounds like it'd be a decent swim.
Oh, that's all right. I'm hoping to go on the... they have 2 swim practices that you can do. So one is Friday and then the next one is on Saturday morning. So if you can get on them, then do try, because it's just good for being able to practice sighting and just knowing where you're going to come out the water, where transition is, etc., etc.
Definitely. And I'll give you a top tip from me. Do not do what I did and do not rip a 3-inch gash in the thigh of your brand new wetsuit as you put it on 10 minutes before the race starts.
Brilliant. Yep.
Yeah,
nice one.
Top tip from me. But if you happen to do that, the patch of duct tape you've got with you will patch it nicely and hold for about an hour and a quarter.
Perfect. And Rob, I know that it is a rolling swim start.
Yeah. They seem to be working really well. People who've been in races in Germany and Austria have said it's worked really well. Seed yourself according to the time you expect to swim, and everything's cruisy. You end up in a pen of people who are roughly the same speed as you. You don't get swum over by a maniac, and you don't get your way blocked by loads of people. I think the only caveat is if you're one of the few people who's really afraid that they're going to not reach the cutoff, they don't extend the cutoff to take account of the fact that you started late. I mean, it's only going to take about 15 to 20 minutes to get through all the swimmers, I think, on the basis of at Germany, they did 10 swimmers every 10 seconds in waves of 10.
Yep.
So they're getting, 60 through every minute. So 10 minutes, that's 600. It's probably the best part of half an hour, isn't it, to get all the people through?
Yeah. Yep.
So if you are one of those few people who's really afraid of the cutoff, you might not want to go right at the back of the 1 hour 30 section. You might want to get yourself through 10 minutes further forward or so, because I don't think it's going to make that much difference. But otherwise, I think stay safe, get yourself in the pen with people who are the same sort of ability as you, and for a bit of good karma, Helen, here's an interesting tip. Take a spare old pair of goggles down with you. And if anybody breaks their goggle strap just before the start, and it always happens, someone's swearing and shouting, calmly give them your old pair of goggles. And if you don't need them, leave them by the side as you get into the water.
Yeah, that's another good Rob Wilby tip.
Yeah, I had my spare pair of goggles with me before Triathlon X. I gave to some guy. It worked out nicely.
Hey, that's good. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll do
good
that.
karma.
Yep, the ones which make my face, feel horrendous in the pool because they're too tight. That kind of thing. Yeah, here you go. Have my goggles.
They're the ones, yeah.
Yeah. Right. So that's a swim.
That's a swim dealt with, isn't it?
Yep. The bike. So I have now ridden the course 5 times.
Awesome.
And
tell us about the road surface. Where's it been resurfaced?
Oh man, I went on it a week ago. So by the time you listen to this, it's probably a week and a half ago, and they had completely resurfaced down from Sheep House Lane to Belmont. So where you could probably pick up quite a bit of speed going down there. At that point, there was, that loose gravelly chipping all over the road, and you had to actually take a lot of care.
Is this on the over the top of Sheep House Lane down into Belmont,
Yep.
that stretch?
Yep.
Oh boy.
Yep, there. And then they were preparing because they...
Well, let's give everyone the shout here. You've got to be super careful at the best of times, haven't you?
Yeah.
If it's loose and chossy on the way down, then really back it off. Because we've seen even pros going off the road on the sharp 90-degree bend by the little reservoir bit there. So don't blow your race for the sake of a handful of seconds there, kids.
No, honestly, because it is quite a technical descent, isn't it?
Yeah.
So it wasn't
so.
particularly pleasant, but slow it down and it's okay. But don't expect to be flying down there. Then there were other stretches as well, Rob, which they had started to resurface as well. It seemed like a lot of it was resurfaced, which was just so at the wrong time, isn't it? But hey.
Yeah.
So the other stretch that they were preparing to do was the bit, just before, towards the end of the loop, when there's a right-hand turn really back on yourself, but there's like a climb up to it. So that stretch, once you go over, I think you go over a motorway, don't you? And then you kind of drop down, you go up.
M6 there.
So again, that bit they were preparing to resurface because they had tape across the road and they had tape across the grids, the drains.
Do you know, it's such a shame that, like, if it was just a little bit different and they'd resurfaced it in that nice smooth tarmac, we'd be running around doing laps of the field with our shirts over our heads going, it's like Ironman Germany.
Yeah.
They've resurfaced the bike course for us. But instead of that, it's actually worse once they've done it than it was before they've done it.
Exactly. So I would just be very...
Watch yourself on the corners.
Do watch yourself. And if you have a chance, if you're racing and you have a chance over the next couple of days, on Saturday or on Friday perhaps, do go and drive the thing. If you haven't had a chance to go out and be on your bike on it, go and drive it, because there are a lot of technical turns, and I just think it's beneficial.
There's a lot of sections that have got really bizarre 90-degree right-hand turns and then 90-degree left-hand turns straight after them, aren't there?
Yep.
The section between, as you're heading out towards Croston,
Yes.
there's some really strange bits there where I think they've routed the bike course on some back roads to keep you off the main road, to keep the locals happy. And it's really hard at the best of times to take those corners with any speed. If you haven't seen them, then you're either going to overshoot them if you're trying to go in fast, or you'll mess something up. So I think driving at Hells is a great tip. We've already talked about Sheep House Lane. We've got probably the thick edge of 3.5, 4K of climbing up there. So you're gonna need the gears on that. You're gonna need, ideally, I think, a compact and a 28 to really save your legs on that one. If you haven't got a compact, it's not the end of the world, but make sure you've got a 28 on the back to save yourself there. And then the other big hill is Hunter's Hill, which is over in the southwest corner of the course, which is only 2K long, but again, it kicks up to a steep section towards the top, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think that hill, is actually harder than Sheep House. 'Cause I just think it seems shorter and steeper. So
it looks like it shouldn't be steep from the bottom, doesn't
Yeah.
it? And then it surprises you with how steep it actually is.
yeah, yeah. So do just save yourself, because you're going to have to go up that one twice, and obviously up Sheep House twice. Sheep House comes at quite near the beginning of the loop, whereas
That's right.
the Hunters comes towards the end of the loop.
Yeah, it's probably 3/4 of the way through, I think,
Yeah,
isn't it?
yeah,
Yeah, so save a bit under the saddlebag for there, I think.
definitely. But no, I think the course is, there are places where it's quite exposed, and if it's a windy day and you're into a headwind, then that is going to be hard work. But just do look at the weather, I guess, on Saturday evening, Sunday morning, and really make sure that you're kitted out for the bike.
Yeah, I think a good tip to go with is to have an extra top on to what you plan to have. Racing in the UK, if you can wear an extra tri-top, and ideally one with a full zip, and you're not bothered about it too much, if you've got a supporter on the course, you can take it off and give it to them as you go by. But it's great to have that second top on for the first hour on the bike and just keep your body temperature up a bit. And again, a good tight fitting pair of arm warmers, I think, are worth the weight in gold on a race when you're going to be out for 6 hours or so. And you know what, for the majority of the field, I think it's not a stupid idea if heavy rain is forecast and it's forecast to be cool, which easily could be if it's like it was today. It isn't a stupid idea to take a rain jacket with you. I think it's reasonable to think that 80% of the people taking part in this are doing it to participate, not compete. And if you were going out for a 6.5, 7.5, 8 hour bike ride in the rain, you take a rain jacket with you, so you don't want your day to end because you've got hypothermia. Stick it in your back pocket and have it with you.
Definitely. And then the run, Rob.
Yeah, I think it's a decent run course. I think it's honest and it's enjoyable, and the crowds on it are fantastic. I think that's the best part of it. You'll be really well supported for the vast majority of the run. And the crowds last year in Bolton Town Centre were insane, weren't they? Do you remember?
Yeah, they were brilliant. They were really, really good. And I think that was actually the moment when I was stood watching near the town centre, and I saw, a few women coming past, running around, and that was when I thought, I want to do this next year.
Yeah, and give me some of this.
Yeah, that was the bit. That was the moment. Yeah, but I haven't done the run course. I haven't run it, so.
Okay, so it doesn't look as hilly from the car as it does when you're running it, but apart from the section through Bolton Town Centre, which is all flat, it's all either uphill or downhill. So you've got a steep uphill for a couple of 100 yards out of Bolton Town Centre, which you're going to end up doing 3 times, probably 150 to 200 yards long. And again, for the majority of people, it's worth power walking up that and saving your legs a bit. Then the rest of it is all either a steady drag uphill or a steady drag downhill. So I think it's worth measuring your energy out on the uphills. Think about taking some of the nutrition on the uphills and kind of running within yourself uphill so you can really rip it on the downhills if you're the kind of person who's trying to put out any kind of performance. For everybody else, I think it still isn't a stupid idea to think about getting most of your calories in going uphill so it's digested by the time you start heading downhill again.
Brilliant. And my other top tip is smile.
Oh, the Helen smile. You got that from Chrissy, didn't you? Well, not from Chrissy, but you and Chrissy the same with that.
Yeah, just smiling because if you're smiling as well, and you've got people out there supporting you, honestly, you want to cheer up. You kind of interact, don't you?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, make the most of this. It's an incredible experience. If it's your first one, high-fiving kids is one of the best ways to have fun as you're doing a marathon. It really will make the time pass by faster. If you're a racing snake, I think you miss out on these experiences. And I think my races recently have been much richer for taking a little bit more time to enjoy the surroundings.
Like it.
Smiles and high fives the whole way.
That's it.
And give Helen a fist pump of joy.
Yeah, many, many, many fist pumps of joy to get me through it.
Yeah, it'll be good. And I'm going to be there, Hells. I'm going to be out there supporting. I'll be at the top of Helen Hill on Chorley New Road by the pub.
Murray Mount.
Yeah, Murray Mount. There you go. So I'll be there with the old Oxygen Addict kit on, and I'll have the MP3 recorder out. I won't try and interview you on the course in case we get you DQ'd.
No, don't do that. That would be quite disastrous. Yeah, don't do that. You can interview me at the end if I'm, in any way,
You better be.
shape or form ready to
You
talk.
better be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Robert, I just want to mention one other thing, which is not UK, but that's really cool that you're going to be there, and everyone else that's doing it. Really, really good luck. There's another big race this weekend going on.
Hang on, before we go on to that one,
Yeah,
I'll tell you what,
go on.
let's talk about the pro race at UK and then we'll go on to the other big race.
All right, go on.
Because I don't know whether you've seen this, but the male race at UK this year has got none other than Michael Raylert
I
racing.
did see that. Yep.
Isn't that awesome?
Yeah, that's very cool.
So Fraser Cartmell's got the number one rank, second place last year. It'd be great to see him win again. Michael Raylert, we've got Romain Guillaume, who I think has finished second here before or third.
Yep.
He crashed a few years ago. Do you remember on the bike?
Yes.
He's a top lad though. He absolutely drilled it on the bike. We've also got Richie Nichols, Harry Wiltshire, Patrick Evo, Nick Baldwin, Oliver Simon, Brad Williams. These guys all on the start list as well. So it's going to be a great race on the men's side. On the ladies' side, we've got Lucy Gossage, defending champ, lined up.
Yeah, so this is a bit of a turnaround because I don't think she had it in her plans. And then I saw a tweet the other day saying, thanks to British Airways for helping me switch things around. Really excited to be racing Ironman UK again.
That's brilliant.
Yeah.
We've also got lining up against Tina Deckers and Kristen Muller, who's won it before and turned out. Do you remember she did that 2:40-something marathon years ago at UK? She was only a few seconds off the male pros winning fastest marathon, which is amazing.
That's cool. Did you know Lucy's going to be wearing number 1 bib?
Brilliant.
Yeah.
And rightly so.
Yeah. It's cool, isn't it?
Good for her. That's a great bit of turning the sex equality on its head, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
That's brilliant. And I tell you what else is going to be great as well. Lucy Charles is racing. So she's racing pro. I think she might come out first overall out of the water.
Yeah, I'm with you.
She could easily do that. I mean, Fraser can swim, Raylert can swim, Romain Guillaume can swim.
I'll tell you the other one who can swim.
Go on.
Fabio Carvalho.
Oh, yeah.
Brazil. Yep. He may well be.
I didn't even see him in the list, actually. Yeah. And Marcus Tomska, he could really turn things up and down on the bike, couldn't he?
Yep. Yeah.
Oh, this is going to be awesome.
And the other one I spotted, Rob, Kate Comber's racing pro. So Kate was on the podium last year, wasn't she?
She was
age
third
grouper
when
last
she was
year.
an age grouper. Yeah, brilliant stuff.
And Vicky Gill as well.
Awesome.
So it should be good.
Lots of Brits to cheer for.
Absolutely.
Cool stuff. Right now, then, we're going to go across the water to Germany, aren't we?
Yeah. Roth.
Challenge Roth, or as the Germans say, Challenge Roth.
Challenge Roth. Yeah, if you weren't going to be in Bolton this weekend, you might want to be in Roth.
Oh, I'd love to go over to Roth and see that race. Wouldn't you?
It would be really cool to watch. Yes.
Is it number one on your list of races you would go to outside of the UK?
What, to go and watch or go and...
Either. Go and watch or take part in.
I would really like to go and...
That's a no then.
No. I was going to say I would. I'd like to go and watch Hawaii. Just watch it, see what that's like. But yeah, Roth for sure would be great to go and be a spectator. Rich has been and watched.
Has he?
Yep.
Didn't know that.
Yep, he went and watched.
So racing on the ladies' side, a late entrant is none other than Daniela Rief after her hypothermia at Ironman Germany last weekend.
Exactly. So she is clearly in very good shape because, she was racing at Frankfurt, wasn't she, for no doubt for the win and a blooming fast time. But yeah, as
Yeah,
you say, didn't finish it, didn't really get very far through it at all. What, 20k on the bike? So she will be fresh as a
yeah.
fiddle. Um, and yeah, that's an interesting addition to the field, isn't it?
It sure is. So we've got Daniela Rief, Yvonne van Vlerken, Anya Berenick, Carrie Lester, Michelle Vesterby, Mary Beth Ellis, Laura Siddle, Erica Chomore. That's a top field, isn't it, right there?
Yeah, yeah. It's exciting. And then you look at the men's field as well, and it's just like, woo! The names, Rob. Jan Frodeno,
So, yeah,
Niels Fromhold, Tyler Butterfield, Joe Skipper, Cyril Viennot, Per Bittner, loads of them.
yeah. Who else we got? Thomas Hellriegel's racing.
Yeah.
Thomas Hellriegel won Ironman Hawaii in like 97.
Incredible.
He's older than me. He must be 45 or
That's like
46.
Natasha Badman, isn't it?
Yeah, and he's still fast, man. He is. Natasha Badman's still fast, but Hellriegel finished in the top 10 overall at Roth a few years ago as he turned 40. So it's awesome to see him back here. He's not just like lining up to make up the numbers.
Yeah, that's cool. Oh, it's great. It's going to be a very, very good race. And I don't know, usually it's pretty warm out there, isn't it?
It is, yeah. If it's a fast day, this could see a world record, I think, if Jan Frodeno and Niels Fromhold push each other on the bike. If Skipper can make up the deficit out of the swim to them as well,
Yeah.
then it could be. I mean, I've had a look at the ratings on tryracing.com. They're saying that Joe's down to finish fourth on his prediction with a 4:26 bike split. I'm not sure. I think Joe's going to be more like a 4:12 bike split on this course.
Wow. It's going to be good to follow. Rob, you're going to have to follow on your phone or something whilst in.
Well, there's no chance for it. I'm gonna check it all out when I get home. I'm not gonna be following that as your race goes on. I've got too many athletes racing at UK to keep track of. I'll be like a little clucking hen.
I love
I've
it.
got my little Chromebook with me. Even I'm gonna have that tethered to the phone so I can use it at the roadside.
I love it. Priorities. This is good. The weekend weather
Yeah.
for Roth, Rob, it looks like 27 degrees, sunny and nice.
Oh, Scorchio. Bit warm for me that.
Wow. Good job you're in Bolton.
Yeah, it won't be 27 degrees there, that's for sure. Famous last words.
Uh, guaranteed.
There we go. Right, let's wrap this up, Helen. We're gonna finish today's show with an interview with Will Clarke. We finally managed to catch up with him. Now he obviously had a storming race over in Ironman Germany with 5th place and a super fast marathon. So it's great to catch up with him. We've been trying to line him up for a while, so I was dead excited to get him on the show. So I'll hand us over here to our interview with Will Clarke, and we'll wrap up the show now, I think, and say goodbye. Hey.
Goodbye. Yes. Best of luck to everyone racing this weekend. And we will speak again next week.
And Helen, on behalf of all our listeners, we wish you all the luck in the world. We hope that Achilles more than holds out and you get the pain-free run that you deserve.
Yeah. Touch wood.
Touch wood and fingers crossed. All right, everyone, here's our interview with Will Clarke. Will Clarke, welcome to the Cup of Triathlon podcast, mate. It's great to finally get you on the show. We've been trying to line this interview up for a while now, haven't we?
Yeah, thanks. Yeah. It's nice to speak to you guys. I enjoy listening to the show myself. So you have some good guests. So it's nice to be invited along.
That's really cool. Thanks, man. It's great to catch up with you. We're recording a couple of days after Ironman Germany, where obviously you've just put in what's got to be said is a rather stonking performance. Was it the fastest marathon today and the course record you just pulled out?
Yeah, it was. Yeah, it was the course record by about, I think, actually less than I thought in the end, because Timo Bracht held it before. He's obviously a top athlete. Yeah, I think I got him by about 20 or 30 seconds in the end.
What was it you ran? 2:42?
Yeah, I was a bit disappointed actually, because I thought I was on for more like 2:40. My watch finished up with 2:41, but I went for a toilet stop. So obviously when I stopped in the Portaloo, my watch also stopped. So 2:42. I guess it looked a bit faster than it was in the end with that toilet stop. But yeah, it's nice to know I can do that.
Hey man, well maybe that's the fastest ever marathon, including a Portaloo stop in the history of Ironman. Who knows, right?
It could be, yeah. Unfortunately, that's kind of a staple part of my race. It's just that's something that I really struggle with is getting around it without needing to visit the toilet briefly.
Oh, do you know,
But
Will, it's good to hear that pro
something to
athletes
work on.
experience the same experience as all the age groupers do as well, mate.
Yeah, yeah. At least I'm one of the first in the Portaloo, I guess, is the nice thing.
Yeah,
The
there you
fresh one.
go. There's potential sponsors right there, mate.
Yeah.
Right, so listen, let's start by talking through Ironman Germany then, because obviously it's one of the, if not the biggest races in the world outside of Kona.
Yeah.
Um, and it looks like it was another fantastic stacked field. There was loads and loads of super talented athletes racing there. Obviously, big points race. Was it 4,000 points as
It
well?
is, yeah, yeah.
And from what I've read, I had a buddy racing pro. Howell was racing pro, and obviously the bit of the curveball got thrown in that just before the start, they announced it was going to be a non-wetsuit swim for the pros.
Yeah.
So let's start with that, I guess.
Yeah, so I wasn't expecting that at all because I knew it was borderline, but then it rained the whole day before. Our cutoff was slightly less than the age groupers, but yeah, so that did throw a curveball, and I do prefer a wetsuit swim, but yeah, I just rolled with it. I was prepared. I had a different tri suit with no sleeves, so it's a bit faster, and also my swim skin and stuff. But actually, we all the pros on the start line were really a bit miffed, and they thought it's too cold to be a non-wetsuit. But yeah, sure enough, you haven't got time to think about it at 6:30 in the morning. So gun goes off, and honestly, I felt it was the worst swim that I've had in my career, and that's saying quite a lot because I'm not the best swimmer. I'm really a guy who blags it. I sit on the feet of the guys in the front group and muscle around basically. But this really caught me out. I mean, I wasn't swimming great anyway because my training was a little bit disturbed, and that's the first thing for me to go. So I came out 4 minutes down in the end, which is really horrendous for me. I came out with Sebastian Kinley, who's a guy who's always chasing on the bike, but I'm unfortunately I'm not a guy like him who can ride up. So so yeah, that wasn't a good start to the race for me at all.
Yeah,
But
sure.
at the same time, it's kind of good because you get to race your own race. So I still came out with some strong bikers, and we just basically did our own thing. We stuck to our power that we know we can hold. I think we even negative splitted the bike. And when you do that, the guys who came out the front come back to you so fast, it's unbelievable. Like sure enough, the first lap you don't catch anyone. You probably even lose time because everyone's chasing Sebastian Kinley and Andy Buckera. So but once you hit 100, 140k, 160k, the guys just come flying back to you, and you go straight past them because you're still fresh and they're completely dead.
Oh, that's an interesting take on it, actually, because obviously by sort of missing that front pack and getting to ride your own race, you got to ride much more like a consistent paced, consistent power bike, like where I'd imagine a lot of the time, if you're actually stuck in the front group, there's a lot of racing and surges and things like
Yeah.
that going on. So,
Well, I think it's the nature
um,
of racing. I mean, I'm coming from ITU racing, and what we do is we swim as fast as we possibly can. We get out on the bike, and we don't stop riding hard until we hit that front pack, whether we actually make it or not. And it's the same in Ironman. I'm swimming as hard as I can because I want to be in the race. I want to be competing for the podium, so I need to be at the front. So I'm chasing people who are better level rider than me. And when it's time trial, you can't really if they're stronger than you, then you can't really do much about it. So you end up blowing yourself
mm.
up by by the time you're 1.5 hours into the race, and then you've got 6.5 hours left to race, and then you're in trouble really.
Well, I'll tell you what, it certainly looks like you've stumbled upon a kind of power strategy for riding that works for you and in terms of running well off the bike, haven't you?
Yeah, it's unbelievable what you can do when you pace the race properly. I mean, we always talk about it and not going over your watts and not starting too fast on the marathon and stuff. But if you can really relax, get your nutrition right, ride to your power, do your own race, then as I said, people come back to you so fast who may have messed it up. And yeah, I mean, I was passing people for the whole race, and that was such a nice feeling, and it's so motivating to be the guy that was moving through the field rather than the guy that was maybe moving backwards. And honestly,
Yeah,
I
and of
could,
course, and you end up in a very positive mental spiral there, don't you, where people are coming back to you and you feel very positive about the whole thing.
yeah. And you know what? My team manager came to me, Ben DeWolf, after the race, and he was like, "Wow, I'm so pleased that mentally you found yourself and you were able to push and and persevere and stuff." And it's like, well, honestly, Ben, that was probably my easiest. It was definitely the easiest Ironman I've done, and it's I've had 70.3s that have been more of a mental battle than this one because I paced it right. There wasn't really any particular time where I was hurting a lot. So
Yeah,
if you actually get it right,
interesting.
Ironman's it's not too bad.
Can you foresee then, like, I guess maybe it's a bit early yet because we're only a couple of days after the race, but can you foresee in the future if you have a race where you get out of the water with the front pack, could you see yourself letting them go and kind of not riding the train and riding your own power and kind of having that faith that the race will come back to you later on?
I'll definitely be thinking about it a lot more than I used to, but I think you really have to. I mean, for me, I think in my eyes, I need to come in off the bike no more than 287, 288 normalized average watts.
Yeah,
So if I'm pushing 320 like I was in no even 335 for 25k that I did in Brazil, obviously it's only gonna end one way. So in that
yeah,
scenario, I should have really backed it off. But in a race like Kona, there's 30 guys there, all in the front pack, and I think you do need to kind of persevere with it for a bit and kind of take it as it comes, and hopefully the group will kind of split, or you'll kind of find your level within that.
yeah.
But
Do you know, it's very interesting to hear you talk a little bit earlier on about how you don't consider yourself to be a particularly strong swimmer amongst your peers because obviously sort of looking back over your history as an ITU athlete, someone who's won world, European under 23 medals, you placed, were you 12th at the Olympics? Have I got that right?
I was 14th actually. Alistair was 12th. I was yeah,
Sorry about
that's
that.
all right. You know.
But still, man, 14th at the Olympics is, you're right there in the very, very top guys. And to hear that you don't consider yourself really to be a very strong swimmer is very interesting to me. And I think it will be to a lot of people listening as well.
Yeah, well, come to Loughborough and speak to any of the guys in the squad, and my swimming is kind of laughable. And they
Really?
also can't figure out how I can swim at the front. Well, swim at the front. I'm not swimming at the front, but how I can swim on the back of the front pack in a race, but I can't do it in training. But I think that just shows that swimming in a pool is so different to open water swimming. In terms
Yeah.
that swimming in the pool is much more technique based, and if you've got a nice fluid technique and you're kind of stretching out and then you can swim fast in the pool. But it's not always translating into open water where fitness comes into equation a lot more. You're getting beaten up. You have to fight for positions. It's you have to fight choppy water and waves and stuff. It's a different game. And because I've been
Mm.
swimming for 22 years, I'm not a particularly good swimmer, but I'm definitely a fit swimmer and a conditioned swimmer. So I think I can keep on throwing my arms over basically. No real technique, but just keep them throwing over, and normally that's enough to come out at the back of the front back, or at least at the front of the second pack.
I suppose if you're going to have it one way, it's better to outperform
Oh yeah,
in races than it is to underperform in races, isn't
yeah.
it?
It's a constant frustration for many athletes. That's for sure. Even professionals,
Yeah.
that's for sure.
Yeah, yeah. Okay. And then right, so listen, you've obviously steamed through the pack on the bike and you were something like 10th or 11th off the bike, weren't you, going onto the run?
Yeah, I think I was around 11th, 10th. Yeah, yeah. I'm not really sure to be honest. It was around there. Yeah, there was all kinds of conflicting information out on the course, including from my coach. So I actually, from my coach's info, I thought I was off the bike in around 6th or 7th, but it turned out to be 11th, 10th, 11th, 12th or something. So I
That's
really
going to
had no
mess with your
idea.
head a little bit, huh?
Yes, I really had no idea. But we all started off and we all felt so good that yeah, I think sixth place was 6 minutes ahead. So I think from the time I started the run, I always knew that they're going to come back by the end, so long as I felt good.
Yeah, okay. And so Frankfurt's a looped course, right? Did you get any sense of where the guys were? Are there any sections where you can see people on out and backs and stuff like that to
Yeah.
sense that you're catching them?
Kind of, yeah. It's a fantastic course. It's really like probably one of the best courses that you can get for Ironman because there's so many spectators out there. There's always something there to keep you motivated, and you can pass your friends, your coaches, your wife about 8 to 12 times on the course. So it's really good for that. So each time you pass someone who knows you, they can give you splits and tell you what's going on. So I did have a pretty good idea in the race. Unfortunately, Sebastian Kinley and Andy Bocchero were so far ahead that they were completely out of the equation. But third, fourth, and fifth were in Weech. So yeah, it was good to have updates from the course from everyone, and it was a really good course for that. That's for sure.
Yeah, good stuff. And obviously, like running so fast, man, low 240s has really put you on the map in terms of, the guys who can run that kind of speed, because there's only a very limited number of people who've run that fast. What are your thoughts sort of going forward now for the rest of the season? Are you comfortably qualified for Kona now, or do you have to chase some more points?
I was actually working out this morning. It's I'm actually not nearly qualified for Kona yet. I think you
Right,
need
okay.
to qualify as the last guy to go to Kona. You probably need around 3,500 points, and I've got 2,300 points. So I need to go on a mad points hunt as soon as I've qualified from this Ironman. So I'm gonna go to Philippines, which is quite a big points race.
Okay.
If I win that, then I'll be comfortably in. If I come second, I'll be pretty much in. Third, fourth, yeah, I would need to do some more racing. So I'm going to enter a few races, including another Ironman in Copenhagen. And if worse comes to worse, then I'll end up doing Copenhagen and trying to get the last points through that. But I'm hoping that I can go to the 70 point freeze and get enough points there to not have to race another Ironman. So then, of course, you're fresher for Hawaii and you can do a good job there.
Yeah, sure. And is it it sounds like it's a pretty tough life actually, trying to constantly work out where the points are and chasing them and who else is racing there. Is that something that kind of dominates your thoughts and your planning for races?
Kind of, yeah. You need to kind of do your homework on it, really. I mean, I'm in a bit of a tough situation because last year I had such a bad year that I started the year this year with absolutely 0 points. Whereas I mean, most people start the year with at least some points because they raced Hawaii and they did a good job there. And actually, if you're top 15 in Hawaii, then you pretty much already qualify for the next year. So
Got ya.
I'm competing against all those guys that have already got slots, and I'm starting from zero. So I need to go on a wild goose chase to try and find points. But the problem with it is if you start with a bad Ironman, then not only do you have no points, you're tired. You probably have to travel to get there, so you're tired from that as well. And mentally, you're broken from from building up to a big race and then failing. So then,
Yeah,
if you're
of
not careful,
course.
you can go on a downward spiral where, the next Ironman you do, you're not as well prepared as you were even for the first. So then you can kind of go on a downward spiral and end up in a bit of a hole, really. So
Yeah.
fortunately, I'm not on that path. But after Brazil, I kind of felt like I was kind of heading on that path. So that's one of the reasons why it's
Yeah,
so
well, I'm
satisfying.
really glad you had a great race at Frankfurt, and obviously that's turned things around points wise. And you only need really one decent race at 70.3 now to put you in
Yeah, I think
a
so.
really
Yeah,
solid position, don't you?
yeah. It's hard
Um,
to get your foot through the door in Ironman. Really, it is. It's tough.
well, it definitely sounds it like if the top 15 virtually qualify by virtue of being top 15 that year, it really only leaves 35 slots for the rest of you to go after,
Yeah,
if that's not you that year, doesn't it?
yeah. And you've not really got, as I said, you haven't really got much room for error. So if you start with bad form, then it's hard to put it back.
Mm. Hey, listen, do you want to talk a little bit about Brazil? Obviously, there was a lot of things posted up on social media after the race where it looks like there was just some crazy antics going on the bike, and you can never really be sure whether what you're seeing is because of the the angle from the camera that it was taken at. But it certainly looked like there was some pretty close riding going on at the front of the pro pack there. Let's put it that way.
Yeah, it was a mess. I think I knew from the start because I spoke to Marino van Honacker about it. He said you need to make that front swim pack because in this race the motorbikes ride way too close to the front riders, and if you're not part of it, then you won't be able to. Then they'll be motor pacing away from you, and of course then
Yeah.
you've got no chance at all to catch them. I actually swam really well there. I came out of the front and I got on the bike in fifth place, and I was right on that train. And sure enough, the motorbike was shielding the guy at the front. But the problem was he was riding easy at the front, but he was still going very fast. So and by the time you count back to five guys, I've got no benefit of the motorbike, and I've got barely any draft from the other riders.
Yeah, of
So I'm
course.
pushing, I'm going the same speed as the guy sat behind the motorbike, but I'm pushing a hell of a lot more watts. To put it in perspective, about 30 or 40 average more watts than I was in Frankfurt. So sure enough, I ended up on my own for the rest of the 100 miles, and the group behind me was I think at 90k they were 12 minutes behind me. So the smart thing to do then would have been to stop at a Subway and got some lunch and then waited for the group to come past, and then I could have been part of that. But yeah, sure enough, after I was getting tired in the last lap. Not too tired, mind, because I still did a good ride. But the guys were then 5 minutes behind me, and I looked on the other side of the carriageway, and they're all riding 2 meters apart, and it was just soul destroying because they were having such an easy ride. I could see them freewheeling, and I was pushing on my own for an Ironman bike leg. And of course, when I got off, I was smashed, and then those guys ran past at full speed, with fresh legs. So it completely ruined the race, and the race was a complete mess. And
was that just down to like poor draft busters? Do you think did the marshals just not do their jobs properly there amongst the pro pack?
Yeah, it's just a South American race, and I think they either didn't care or they weren't looking at it, or they're misinformed. But to rub salt in the wound, the guy who won the race, Brent, got off the bike 20 minutes in front of me.
Wow.
And also 10 or 12 minutes in front of Tim Don, who had a fantastic race. So I also saw him on the other side of the carriageway, and he was sat directly behind a motorbike, almost freewheeling, actually almost sat up, putting on his brakes so he wasn't going into the back of the motorbike. So it was just a complete mess, the race, and it's not a race that I want to go back and do again. It was completely unfair and completely soul destroying, really. So in the end,
I was going to say, we looked at the times of the lead. I can't remember who it was who did the fastest bike split of the day, but it was super quick. Was it like a 4.8 or something like that he rode, or a 4.10?
I think he rode a 4.11, but he did it. Yeah, he's basically a runner. He's a small guy. He's not got particularly good time trial position. I don't want to bag him too hard, but I was pretty bitter about it in the end. But it's just a bit of a joke. It was unfair. I mean, and it sucks when you travel all that way and you prepared so well for a race, and then you get pulled up on stupid things like that. It's not what the sport's about, really, and it's a bit disappointing.
Yeah. Come and race in Bolton, mate. Come to Ironman UK in Bolton. There'll be none of that here.
I know,
motorbikes can't get up the hills in Bolton.
Yeah. You have to contend there with the potholes instead, but.
Yeah, that's the truth, man.
But yeah, no, it would have been a better choice, that's for sure.
Hey, well, let's go back a little bit. Obviously, we've started where we are in the present now, with you being a successful Ironman and 70.3 racer. Let's rewind it back. So I love talking about the sort of the genesis story with athletes and how you ended up in triathlon in the first place. What was it that actually got you into triathlon? You mentioned you were a swimmer as a kid.
Yeah.
How did you end up in triathlon then?
I was kind of an average club swimmer when I was a kid. From 7 till 15, I was swimming in the squad properly. One of those kids that just wasn't giving it up, really. I wasn't any good, to be honest, but I wasn't. Yeah, I just kept on doing it. Probably because my mum wanted me to do it, and she was getting up for me so early in the mornings that it would kind of be a bit of a kick in the face for her if I suddenly pulled out because I couldn't be asked anymore.
Yeah.
But I also picked up running when I was about 11. I started just for fun. I was doing sprints and long jump and all the just fun stuff. And then I finally found my way into cross country when I was about 12. Cross country and 1500 meters and stuff like that. And just running, kind of improved both sports kind of parallel to each other until I was about 16. And then I got talent spotted into I went to a talent spotting day basically at Loughborough Uni for to get on what was called the World Class Start Squad at the time. Mm-hmm. And all that is a bit of it's a bit of funding. It's access to some support and a coach, and I think we got £500 and we got some free camps and stuff like that. But it was really that was really the boost that I needed. I definitely loved triathlon because I did some kids races before. But yeah, that kind of started my career in triathlon, and I kind of improved quite rapidly from there. As soon as I got a coach that was in the British Triathlon Federation and kind of got some more expertise on board, I kind of really got into it quite fast then, and kind of things kind of spiraled from there.
Well, I can remember as I got into triathlon, I started getting into this about 2002, and avidly read 220 and all that, as you do when you're first new to the sport. And you and Ollie were always in the 220s at the time. Initially it would have been the under 18s, I guess, the Europeans, and then the under 21s, the under 23s, and you guys were just sort of head and shoulders ahead of the rest of the world. It looked like, certainly from my point of view, you guys had a very bright future there in front of you. So you progressed really rapidly, didn't you? And ended up being world and European under 23 championships
Yeah, I think
champion.
Ollie Freeman and I, he was really my big rival. He was actually better, I think. He just didn't really train as hard. He didn't really commit to it, I don't think, as much as I did at that young age. So I got the jump on him when we went to Olympic distances and started racing that. But he's so talented, and I think he's probably one of the most talented guys that British triathlon has seen, really, including the Brownlees, and I think Alistair would probably say that as well.
Oh, that's
But
interesting.
he's a super intelligent guy, and he's got other things on his plate. He went to Silicon Valley recently and did an internship over there, and now he's back in London, I think, doing something in IT. So he's super intelligent with other things on his plate, and triathlon's not for everyone, I guess. So, but
Yeah, and he had a good run of it
yeah, exactly,
in
yeah.
his university years. Hey, so
Okay.
you ended up
But yeah,
as world and European under
yeah,
23 champion.
we did, yeah. I ended up winning Worlds and Europeans in 2006, and kind of and then moved on to World Cups and the World Series circuit. And I think in my years doing that, I got my best result was a second in Hamburg World Series.
Yeah,
And obviously I went to Beijing Olympics and stuff, and that was a good experience. But I didn't get the result that I wanted there, unfortunately. But after seeing how hard it is to qualify for Team GB now, I'm super pleased that I got the opportunity to go in Beijing, because it's so hard to qualify now that it's nice to get one on. It's nice to get one on the board in Beijing.
yeah. Well, you must have been pretty young at the time. Hey, how was your Beijing experience?
You know what? Like, if you go to the Olympics for GB, then you're kind of already in the hunt for the medals, because we're a strong nation, and it's I think, I'm not sure how many golds we won in Beijing, but I think it was something like 19 or something, and then we also obviously won a lot of medals in London as well. So you kind of don't go there as a Olympic tourist. You go there to kind of compete and to win. And I
Yeah,
think the year before I went there, I was fifth in Hamburg World Champs as a senior, and I
yeah,
was still 21, I think. So that already kind of said to me, look, 1 year older, 1 year older, 1 year stronger, and you could be on the podium in Beijing. I was in really good shape. I was in my best ever shape for Beijing, but I was missing something in the swim, and I ended up 14th, because it just wasn't a good day for me, really. But so actually I was pretty disappointed after Beijing, and I didn't really take the Olympics for what it was. I kind of got too seriously involved in it, and I was too busy chasing medals, and not busy enough in enjoying the experience.
Oh, well, at least, look, if you're going to take anything too seriously, it might as well be the Olympic Games, I reckon,
Yeah,
Will.
I suppose. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Right, so racing at the moment, you're with Team Ethics BMC. Talk a little bit about that setup for us, because obviously it looks from the outside as, you know, you've got essentially like a pro cycling team kind of setup in triathlon. How has that been for you?
Yeah, that's probably exactly how it is, really. It's definitely the closest thing to a pro cycling team that Triathlon has, in terms of all round support, all rounds, or whether that's sponsors or team direction and stuff. It's been absolutely fantastic, because when I decided to leave ITU and go and chase a long course career, I also left with me pretty much all of my sponsors and all of my funding from British Triathlon. So that was kind of scary at the time, because I was, for the first time in my career, I was going completely off my own back and completely off my own savings. And when
Hmm.
you do that, money just it just drains from your pockets so quickly, because you're getting expensive flights, and you're buying expensive equipment, and you're staying in expensive places and stuff. So you haven't really got much room for error. And my son was also announced at the time as well. So yeah, so the team came to me, I think, only a few months after starting long course triathlon. So that was really awesome, and I went to go and test with them I did some testing with them in Belgium at the Sports Science Institute called Bachelor Academy,
Okay.
and from then I pretty much signed a contract with them and for the following year, and then I was fully supported up until now. And it's been amazing because it's not only some sponsorship money and your free equipment. It's also the support of the team, whether that's a team doctor or it's a physio or it's or it's a psychologist now that I'm using as well, and the support of the team director and the team manager. So at this stage of my career where I'm still learning it, it's been perfect for kind of having that support and helping me develop into a long course triathlete.
Yeah, and one thing that occurred to me as well, I follow along a little bit on social media, and it seems like you've got like a genuine team atmosphere that goes on because you've got, the camps you've done where you've got David McNamee and you've got Roman Guillaume and people like that. It looks like you're all having quite a laugh together as you do it. And in a sport that can be quite solitary and lonely, it looks like you've kind of got a nice gang to hang out and train with there.
Absolutely, yeah, we do. I mean, everyone on the team is good friends, and they're all good laugh. And we actually don't see each other that often. We see each other for 1 or 2 team camps a year, and then we see each other at the races that we all that we're clashing at. So I think normally the team would kind of get together in Hawaii, although I've never been on that yet. And also, yeah, just popping up at random races. But yeah, everyone in the team's really good friends, and it's a great team atmosphere. And you're right, it can be a lonely sport if you're training on your own. So it's nice to kind of have that team atmosphere and catch up and get together, especially at races.
And you mentioned, sort of leaving the GB setup and going off on your own, as it were. What do you reckon it cost you in expenses being a pro triathlete in terms of like flights and all the stuff because it looks, obviously from the outside, it looks like Will's living the dream, but I'm sure, you've got a kid on the way, you've got a mortgage to pay. It probably feels brown trousers a lot of the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. I think it's around 25,000 euros a year.
Is that right? As much as that for flights and all that stuff?
That's being fairly conservative as well. And I'm sorry, that's also including the team giving me every bit of equipment that I can imagine. So that's just on flights, travel, whether you're paying a coach out of that as well, hotels and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it really puts in perspective, doesn't it, that there's not many people in triathlon making a decent living, and there's even few actually making a living from it. Hey.
Yeah, I mean, I actually, it's a bit of a joke, but from the $5,000 that I earn in Frankfurt at the weekend, I think that I'm going to pay my coach a couple of €1,000 from that, because he's got a funny coach system where he charges one Kona point. €1 per Kona point that you earn. So in that one, I earn around 2,000 Kona points. So I need to pay him €2,000, and then obviously there's a cost of travel to get there and taxis to and from the airport and hotels and stuff, and then taxes on top of that. But the rest of the money will probably go on dentist fees to sort my teeth out after all the energy gels that I've drunk. So actually, you end up with nothing.
Yeah.
No.
You end up just about making a living, hey.
But no, I mean, if you're in the top, if you're in the top kind of 10 guys in the world, then I think then you can normally make a good living out of it. But yeah, it's mostly, especially in long course racing, it's mostly sponsors and bonuses. It's not really prize money.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Gotcha. Cool. Now I noticed you also, obviously it's pretty hard to make a living at the best of times, and you're also doing a little bit of coaching as well now, aren't you?
Yeah, I coach 6 people. It's something that I wanted to get into afterwards, and also kind of something to keep me occupied when I'm not training, even though I'm super busy with my son and my family and chasing him around. But yeah, it's actually, yeah. I mean, I'm actually really enjoying it. I started off, to be fair, it started off as, I want to make some money on the side and stuff, and I want to kind of start thinking about setting up a career after triathlon as well. So I'll start coaching 4 or 5 athletes or something. But actually, it's amazing. It's amazing how into it you get and how invested you are. I mean, I've got some really good athletes making some really good improvements now, and I think one of them has got a really good chance of winning age group World Turning Point Free Champs this year in Australia.
Awesome.
I think she's won age group overall in the past few races. So I really get behind her and really into watching her develop and trying to bring her up to level. And it's really it's been a lot of fun for me so far.
Yeah, it's nice to watch. It's nice to watch other athletes doing things and improving and kind of putting a training plan together to try and get the best out of somebody else, isn't it, rather than just yourself?
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, it also actually teaches me because it's yeah, you kind of see you in them as well, in that you're impatient and you kind of you're not really thinking about things logically. But if you're on the outside and you're in charge of that and you're unemotionally attached, then you can make all the right decisions. And it's really helpful to have someone to kind of bounce ideas off and talk to about that rather than doing it on your own and kind of making those bad decisions and getting carried away in training and stuff. So it's kind of I can see how useful it is to actually listen to your coach properly and trust in what he's saying. And yeah.
Interesting. So it's actually helped you out as an athlete to be a coach on the other side of the phone, huh?
Yeah, it's taught me to trust the plan in your coach and kind of be more patient and don't take each day, kind of look at it as a whole picture rather than each day.
Cool. Hey, listen, I want to wrap this up in a minute, but I first wanted to ask you, is there one race on the calendar that you'd really like to go and do? And if so, why? Which one would it be, the one you really want to go for?
Oh,
we're going to say outside of Kona, because obviously Kona's Kona's got a special place in everybody's heart. But apart from that race, what would you really want to go and do?
Yeah, I'd like to do. I'd like to do Challenge Roth as well. I think that's one of the kind of the big three. It's one of the big three races in the sport. So I'd like to do that one. But actually, I'd also like to really race in Asia more often. I think I'd like to go and do some of those Thailand races like Challenge Phuket and all those ones, because those always look fun and they always look like they have a good time afterwards. So. Yeah,
a nice excuse for a guy who's quick like you to go somewhere and race and then have a bit of a holiday and let your hair down a bit afterwards, eh?
I do have to say though, if you're looking for an Ironman, then I wouldn't look much further than Frankfurt. I mean, I think a lot of people big up Ironman too much in the head, and it's and they really stress about it almost. But this is a race where it's really you're kind of always you're always entertained by the crowd. It's a nice course. It's pretty easy. It's pretty easy race to come and do logistically, and when you're really hurting, having that many people on the run course really kind of pulls you through and keeps your head in the game. So I think if you're looking to do an Ironman for the first time, I wouldn't look much further than Ironman Frankfurt.
Oh, it's a great recommendation, man. I think there's a lot of people at this point looking for races for next season. So who knows? Yeah. Maybe you'll just have convinced a few people to head over to Frankfurt next year. All right, listen, Will, thank you very much for your time, mate. I really appreciate you coming on the show, and again, well done. It's brilliant to see you absolutely nail a marathon at the end of a big Ironman, and I'm really looking forward to you now getting to the point where you hop off the bike at the back of the lead pack and turn out that 2:42 marathon and bring home the overall victory, man. That's the next step, isn't it?
That'd be nice, yeah. Just keep on moving things forward and improving. Yeah, that's all I can do, I guess. But appreciate that.
We'll stick that together in Kona, hey? That can be hop off and put a 2:42 together in Kona. We'll be happy with that.
That'd be nice, yeah, very nice. Tough, but nice.
All right, man. Listen, thanks very much. We'll hopefully talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Cheers. See ya.